We're going to see the Trundle now trade hands a little bit, and Light going to go back onto the Ziggs. So, again, the Syndra was fine. It did great. It was like 40 or 45 CS up in lane at 20 minutes, but it didn't have the same impact. So I'm curious to see now if this is going to be Knight Syndra or JackeyLove Syndra.
I would personally prefer the Knight Syndra, something that he can get more early lane pressure on, and I think that this adaptation by LNG is pretty smart. I assume they're still going to want to pick Olaf, but knowing that TES have a higher priority on Volibear, they can give over the Volibear and then still R3 the Olaf into that pick.
Yeah, and even right now, you could argue that they still have the counter picks. They could still force, as I was going to say, a support pick coming in for top esports right now, because that Trundle technically can go jungle, but it is almost certainly going to be going into Lwandy's hands. You don't need it to be as big of an issue, especially when you know you're probably going up against a Leona hard engaged. So right now, LNG, and oh, I love this from LNG right now. They're locking in their top lane pick and saying, cool, we're just going to ban out more top lane picks away from 369 to guarantee Ale a massive success.
Yeah, so what you do is you ban out the top laners for LNG, and on top esports side, I would like to see them ban out the Olaf so that they don't give that over. They have a lot of CC on their team already, and they have an immobile mid laner, so I think that this would be a good Olaf ban, and it does come in on the 4th ban for top.
Yep, ban away the Silas, still good from LNG. As I said, Knight didn't have a great game on it last time, but it wasn't really given the same opportunities. We are going to see the Jax final ban come in here as well. Last time we did see, of course, the Jax ban. It was alongside the Tahm Kench, but when you see the Leona, you know that the Tahm Kench is not going to be picked up. Could still technically be a Tahm Kench top for the side of top esports if they do decide they want to go that route, but I feel like Camille has a pretty decent time into that particular matchup.
Yeah, and then the other option could be potentially a Tahm Kench support here from LNG. You can always still jungle this Trundle, but the hover on Diana seems to mean that there will be most likely an AD mid laner to make LNG's comp functional.
Yeah, you're looking at maybe, you know, you've got maybe the Yasuo. You could go
Lucian.
old school combination. Lucian is still a very good pick, of course. You've got a couple. Tristana hasn't been in the meta that much, but has been seen in more like the Academy and ERL leagues of Europe and NA. So you have got options available to you as top esports now cycle through what they want to do. 369. Looking at the Gangplank is end up going to lock that one in, so we will have the Scurvy Scoundrel into that top side now as the potential final game. Top esports, if they can get that pick ahead, if they can get this Gangplank to be relevant, this becomes a huge power then for them in the mid to late game.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what top esports does. LNG really looking like they do want a Lucian pick, so top esports can deny it here and flex the Syndra into bot lane potentially. I think this is really smart, and it kind of pins LNG to picking the Yasuo.
Yep, you got Yasuo, like maybe Aurelia. Aurelia does work too. Doesn't give you as much AD damage, so you still are looking at those assassin picks, and they know it. LNG know it. They're cycling through all the different ones, and like you said, it looks like it's going to be the Yasuo combination coming in here, and there is a lot of setup for him, but we have seen this falter and we have seen this absolutely soar, so we'll be curious to see how Icon and Tarzan navigate these two combinations.
Yeah, so let's see. Is JackeyLove on the Syndra again? I mean, I think it's more excusable in this draft. The lane phase did not go bad for JackeyLove. Although we were wanting to see him on a traditional AD carry pick, the Syndra into Ziggs did go well. He was 40 CS up in lane, and the Lucian denial here forces LNG to play this very feast or famine team comp.
We'll have to wait and see. It is going to be JackeyLove navigating the Syndra again. Like we said, similar to last game, it was very, very good in that laning phase. Didn't translate, though, into that mid to late game bracket. But a win for top esports sends us to the all-elusive Silver Scrapes as we jump onto the Rift. And we see the LNG getting some nice early aggression in the spot side to get some early information.
Yep, and you see the PTA Lucian coming out. He's not going to be doing any of that Mana Moon area clips stuff. He's just going to be going for the straight up standard, I would assume, Gale Force Lucian.
Yeah, I'm actually curious as well. We actually see Ale taking the Fleet Footwork instead of the Grasping Undying. So curious about that. Looking to maybe be a bit more aggressive in the trades and kind of saying, look, I can take much quicker trades with this guy than I can with the Grasp.
I think it's more just for the sustain in lane. Gangplank is a champion that is so oppressive level 1, and Ale just wants to be able to sustain off the minion wave, and he won't be able to use the Grasp as easily because of the spacing that is available to the Gangplank. So Fleet Footwork definitely makes sense, especially when you're dealing with a champion that has as much poke as Gangplank. Pair that with the Doran Shield, Second Wind, you're in business when it comes to sustain.
Yeah, no word put down onto the blue, but information here from Top Esports to say, right, he did not start blue buff, so he's on the top side, so we will see both junglers pathing down towards that bot side. Lucian into the mid lane. Knight will have pretty much perma prio as the melee into range. It's just how it goes. And even now you can see the double taps coming in. Icon taking so much damage. If he's level 2 there, he just dies because of the double tap passive. And this is what Knight can do on a champion like this.
Yeah, and it's one of these matchups where Yasuo normally has to just give up CS and try to just stay in experience range early on in the matchup. It isn't until level 3 where you actually have the ability to ever win trades with Windwall. You can ever actually just play to aggressively take CS in the lane. 369, not able to land the barrel combo yet. Oh, never mind. Triple barrel.
Just clipped him. Just clipped him right at the edge there. It is a big wave being pushed in right now. We do see level 2s being hit across the board by the side of Top Esports. So LNG, sadly for them, have to give up the priority. But this isn't nothing new. This is something that we saw in the last game as well with JackeyLove on the Syndra, able to get that early priority into the Ziggs. We obviously know with the Camille as well. But now Karsa going to walk straight in. And both junglers do find each other. So it is going to be Lwandy to roam over and try and just make sure that his blue buff gets picked. So he gets actually what I like to call a late leash, is how I like to call it. But speaking of leashes, we're going to see the Windwall coming in. They're going to flash away, get the stun down. Icon, though, has been caught, and Knight gets himself a kill. Tarzan is there to land the Crescent Strike, but nothing more to come of it. A good early start again for Top.
Really smart play from Karsa here, invading, using his bot and mid prio to potentially contest the blue buff. But when he sees LNG cross over and knows that Ziggs is also leashing that buff, he knows that Icon is left alone mid. So this is actually super impactful. Gets the flash, gets the kill, and that's exactly what you want to see if you have this Volibear early game.
It's a good start for them so far. Karsa finds himself back into this mid lane, just hovering around. Shouldn't really get himself an opportunity to get a kill or to get at a gank. It's very difficult for him to really make that one stick, considering he has no other setup. But you see the junglers, or certainly not the junglers, the Trundle of Lwandy walking over just to make sure his jungler is fine. And you don't want to give too much time into this mid lane. Yes, it's great to get the Yasuo down, but the quicker he gets to his 0-10 power spike, the worse it becomes for you.
Of course, looking for the 0-10 power spike. But realistically here, the reason why they have to walk mid is because the wave is actually pushing away from Icon. And with him being flashless, if he gets flashed on by Karsa, generally speaking, he's just going to be dead.
Oh, speaking of which, they're going to jump straight in on top of it. Karsa actually ends up getting a kill onto Icon before trading back his life. Now Zhuo in a little bit of trouble, only level 2, cannot get away. It ends up being a trade of 2 kills in favor of LNG for only the 1. Nicely done. Are they done with the dive? I'm not quite sure you want to go for this early. They are kind of looking for it, but no mana on Light means they're just going to take a plate and back themselves up.
Yeah, and Light ends up TPing. JackeyLove elects not to match it, but he does push in the bot lane here, which means that Light is going to sacrifice some of his minions here because Yasuo is going to be eating his bot wave in this specific situation. I think it makes sense, though. I mean, you really have to care about this Yasuo if you're going to pick it. The CS on the Yasuo matters a lot more than the CS on the Ziggs, so trying to make sure that your Yasuo is not behind seems to be the right call in this situation.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at how they're looking for their entire team fight combination to be that Diana Yasuo. That is a good plan to go ahead with. So they do end up getting the kills down. We can see now the replay coming in. This is just Karsa trying to just force this one in a full 3v3.
Yeah, this was really well played by LNG, predicting that most likely there would be a play on this wave before it crashed and having 3 people waiting for it. Light TPing in, he doesn't end up getting anything for it himself, but trying to back his boys here so that they're able to continue and chase down the Leona in this situation.
Yeah, TP going to be used bot by JackeyLove to get himself up. He's already about 20 CS up, so having a great time against Light as CS leads across the board pretty much apart from the jungle, but with the Diana basically being known to be up on that top side, they're not really going to do anything else in that regard. So Dragon going to be secured here by Top Esports. They get themselves another Drake. That is probably the 4th game in a row they've got themselves first Drake and able to keep themselves going. But Lwandy is here, and this Gangplank will struggle without his ultimate to try and make this one go. But now he has his ultimate, already used it though. So now in a little bit of trouble. There's a good pillar of ice to try and keep everybody away. They're jumping in with the Hextech ultimatum. Oh! This turret though had been stacking up the power, and that's just a massive mistake from Ale. Goes far too close to the sun and gets burned.
Yeah, and 369 sees the Camille ult coming out and flashes him into the turret here. That's a huge win because LNG was investing 3 people into that top side here, and 369 just gets the 1v3 kill, and now he just dips out. It's perfect for him.
It's perfect, but also you're just investing so much into this. You have so much time, so much resources. Now 369, without a flash, without an ultimate, may be dead as he tries to get jumped onto. Has got himself an orange, is stacking up a barrel just a little bit, but don't think there's going to be much else he can do about this one. He's going to have to fall down. They're going to try and give that one to Tarzan, and they will. Good response, but good lord, that's a lot of investment there from LNG.
And look at bot side during this situation. You have the Syndra completely zoning the Ziggs off of the turret. Ziggs is at 29 CS at 7 minutes.
She's proxy farming on this turret. That's going to be a solo kill on the turret by JackeyLove himself. He gets all the plates, he gets all the CS. What's Light supposed to do?
He's supposed to kill this pink ward and say top diff. That's all he's got.
Mute all chat, mute pings. That's what you do in this particular situation. But this is purely JackeyLove having the advantage. More than double the CS, nearly 1.5, like 2.5 times the CS of the Ziggs. And it's just an absolute, look at the gold. It's 1900 versus 32, nearly 3300. There's a 1400 gold lead in favor of Syndra and Syndra alone.
Yeah, the Syndra got 4 plates down there. Definitely not worth it from LNG. I mean, they failed the first dive, and then when 369 was pushing out the wave, they end up ganking him, get the kill, but he crashes his wave, and the whole time Light is just being perma-denied. So this is a massive win for top esports here.
It really does feel like it, and they're going to double down. They know they have no way of salvaging this bot side, so they're going to try and double down onto the top lane. They do have the Moonfall available for Tarzan, and of course the Hextech ultimatum from Ale. Won't be up just for another few seconds, but with Rift Herald going down, they have an idea of where everybody is, but not 100% sure. And Tarzan's wasting a lot of time here. He's got bot camps to take, but he's giving up a lot of resources to try and make sure Ale can get this kill, and I don't even know if they can.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, never mind. They're dead. Now they get it. Never mind. They're going to have to get the Hextech ultimatum down. They will kick up, and that's Ale picking up the kill. So, all good things to those who are patient, but again, to LNG, they're pulling at scraps right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was so close. It looked like 369 had an idea that they could be there. He was respecting it, not trading super heavily. He walks up to get that final minion, and it ends up costing him his life.
Yep, you don't get greedy for that last little minion, as we can now see Light just trying to take something, anything to get him back into this game. He has got 30 CS down, he's no plates whatsoever, and you can see just how much power and poise this Syndra has now as they're going to look for it. There is the stun, not quite landing, but there's not really a lot of mana here for this LNG bot side, so JackeyLove should still feel pretty damn confident to know that he's not going to be killed.
Yeah, and Light doesn't have TP, might be forced to ulti the next wave here. His items are really, really sad right now. Doesn't have even close to the amount of mana and mana regen that JackeyLove has in this lane, which means that he's just going to be getting pushed out on cooldown. I'm expecting him to ult this wave.
I mean, does he have enough mana to ult the wave? That's the question. I don't even think he has right now, so he's just going to have to give up this tower. Honestly, as much as it feels bad to give up your tower, it's actually the correct play, because then at least you can get the wave to push into you and you're not just losing CS and experience.
Yeah, it's just the matchup, I guess. Unlucky.
Yep. Unlucky. Unlucky. Well, while that's been happening, honestly, this is kind of... I suppose LNG should have expected this. They have a losing mid lane. They have a losing bot lane. They have a very tenuously losing top side. It's not exactly an easy feat for them to get priority. So this should be just part and parcel for how they have drafted, realistically.
Yeah, and you saw that Karsa was really, really intelligent with his jungle pathing early game, just understanding which lanes were going to have priority and making something happen in the enemy jungle on that side of the map. So definitely a big lead for TES, 1,500 gold lead at 11 minutes, and most likely they're going to be able to get the second Drake as well.
Yep, they've got themselves about a 1,300 gold lead in mid. They've got about a 1,600 gold lead in bot lane. The only real place where you're kind of saying it's all good, we're going to be fine, is in jungle. Tarzan has found himself about an 800 gold lead. It's equal in top side, so you're okay with that particular setup. For some reason, IWDominate, oh, of course, he got a kill. I was like, how does IWDominate have a 600 gold lead for some reason? But he got himself a kill, and this is where the side of LNG, they need to start getting a bit creative. The map starts opening up. The game starts to get a little bit more different as 369 forced to flash away. not able to keep himself safe, and he is not safe up in this top side. They will get a second dragon, though, for top esports, but again, more and more resources being pulled into Ale.
And I think JackeyLove might have his completed mythic here. He's waiting in base. I would assume that's what he would be waiting in base for. And yeah, they have a ton of pressure here. Karsa also should be stated that they have the Rift Herald. They're using it onto mid, and this should be mid turret completely gone versus the Yasuo.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do here. The Shelly will get her charge off, and that's going to be all plates. That's 10 plates minimum down onto the side of top esports. They get all of bot, they get all of mid. They're now going to start rotating up towards this top side, start gaining control over this top side jungle that is LNG's, and maybe just put pressure onto Ale.
Yeah, this is perfect. With nothing bot side, the second dragon taken, 4 minutes to the third one, you can just rotate the Syndra up to top side, and you can start working on this turret. So this could be a 15-plate game, potentially.
Yeah, they have plenty of time to do it. It's not as if we're like, oh, maybe they'll get it. They have a minute and a half to do this. It's not exactly a hard thing to do. They will reset. They recognize they are losing a little bit too much on the bot side. And the one saving grace for Light, despite having all this pressure put down on top of him, is he's still a Ziggs. His passive is still exceptionally good at taking turrets, and he still has a satchel charge.
Yeah, and with one more wave pushed in, if LNG have an idea of where Karsa is, they might be able to take it. But it seems like top esports is defending it. That being said, Syndra does have to play very carefully on the top side, playing into the Divine Sunder Camille with no support on that side of the map.
And now you have this advantage for top esports. I want to ask you, where are you looking to... I just caught myself a little bit, as we are going to see Ale go straight in onto JackeyLove. There's a bit of very much the Fed member, either Fed member of these teams going up against each other, see who is the strongest. But just before we come into that, I wanted to ask, you know, you're looking at this from top esports. Are you happy to let this game just continue the way it's going? Are you always going to be ahead because you're ahead, or do you need to look for a bit more of a proactive play to catch people out?
I don't feel like you really need to be super proactive in this situation. It's not like you have a scaling issue. You have Lucian, you have Syndra, you have Gangplank. It's more that you just have to make sure that in team fights you have vision of where the enemy champions are. If you don't know where Diana is and there's a Diana plus Camille flank onto your backline, that's going to be the real combo that you have to be careful of. Obviously, Diana will enable the Yasuo to jump in there, and that's really what LNG will be looking for when it comes to these mid-game team fights.
Well, Ale just going to take the last plate before it ticks off, so gets himself a nice little bit of extra gold. Still only just sitting on its Divine Sunder. And we do have the double Divine Sunderer for the side of top esports. They got it on the volley, they have it on the Gangplank as well. And they have mythics across the board. And so, to my biggest surprise, LNG were able to get Light enough resources so he was able to get it himself. As we now see Icon and 369 maybe looking for a little bit of a gank opportunity, as they know exactly where he is, but he has no flash. He does have the cannon barrage, but there's no minions just yet. 369, he needs to leave. He needs to get out of here. I don't think he can. There it is. The last breath with the Steel Tempest gonna be used to absolute perfection, and that's the combination you love to see.
That's a 3 right there. You don't want to be on that side of the map solo.
I feel like this is something we've seen so many times this series for top esports, where be it 369 or where it's be it JackeyLove, where they don't have priority in one side of the lane. They're just looking at it like a moth to flame, just like I gotta go to it, man. Like, it's what if they just randomly decide to not all pile down on bot side? It just seems to be a double. I say that we're gonna see JackeyLove now being dropped off onto mid lane. Hextech ultimatum, and now LNG stringing together a couple of kills, and they're still going bot side as well. So this is actually a lot of gold.
Oh man, that's massive for them, just evening up the game right here. And LNG doesn't really have to care that much about the dragon. With it being a Cloud Soul, they don't have that same pressure they had in previous games to fight it. So LNG, massive comeback play on bot side. JackeyLove getting picked off mid, 369 getting picked off top, and all they ended up really getting for it was second Herald.
I was just so enthralled in my own analogies that I didn't even realize that JackeyLove was getting jumped onto right there in the mid lane. And this is... we talked about it a little bit as we look at the replay now. This is just Ale straight up saying, you've walked too far.
Yeah, and it's smart. He knows that the wave is going to stack towards his tier 2 anyway, so he doesn't need to be there yet. So he flanks onto mid lane, and with the Hextech ultimatum, yeah, it's too hard for Syndra to avoid without the stopwatch.
Again, this is just something that we mentioned at the start of the day, but like, JackeyLove has had a couple of these moments where he has given away far more than he probably realizes to the enemy team. And now not only do they get 2 kills, so fair enough, 369 died. That was avoidable, but you deal with it, whatever it happened. But then you lose top tier 1, you lose another kill in mid, you're gonna have Knight pushing this bot side, thankfully with a Rift Herald, so he's gonna have a little bit of pressure in that. Yes, there is no Iron team, but my god, is there one and win, and you're going to need Knight to 100% carry this game if you want to try and come out of this one right now.
And that's really what you have to look at here. Knight is the one that still has the huge gold advantage. The Syndra versus Ziggs advantage didn't seem to amount to much in game number 3. Here in game 4, I don't expect it to have a massive impact on the game itself, but Knight right now, he's super, super strong, getting that 600 gold tier 2 turret, recently buffed. Sitting on a 2200 gold lead, and on a champion like Lucian, he's really strong right now. Has the Gale Force, has the Essence Reaver, has the plated steel caps, and the stopwatch all at the same time. So it's really going to be up to him to carry this game here from top.
I really like the plated steel caps. He recognizes that Ziggs is not going to kill him, and if he gets jumped on by Diana with the combination, he's dead. There's nothing you can do about that. So he needs to make sure that he's mitigating damage from the Yasuo and of course from the Camille. So right now, Top Esports, they find themselves still ahead in gold and on soul point, but not really in a position to not be making the most proactive of moves. We do see Ally jumping in off of the backside. Flash forward to Solar Flare. Nicely done by Zhuo to stop any kind of push in, and that was just really good heads-up play.
Yeah, and the Cannon Barrage comes down for Top Esports. Ale ends up getting away, but has to burn his flash there, which means that he most likely won't have it up for the next dragon fight. It's on tonight.
Hexacle ultimatum. Allay's got a little bit too far forward. Icon as well getting jumped on. He's forced to flash away. There's going to be the ultimate. The last breath is too much damage. The exhaust is good. Gangplank is here with Karsa trying to come back in tow. They'll trade it 1 for 1. And if you're Top Esports right now, you take that.
And it was really hard for Knight to actually deal damage in that fight. JackeyLove ends up getting jumped on, goes down, doesn't even use the ultimate, and now sitting on the stopwatch, he's gonna have to use that. But you have to be really aware as a Syndra into this Diana combo. I mean, normally Diana is a good pick into Syndra anyway because of how potent the ultimate is, but when you combine that with Yasuo, you have to be super, super aware. If you are not, and you don't stopwatch it early, you are just one shot.
Yeah, and Ale, again, just straight away saying, I'm going for this play. And good from Knight to keep himself alive, keep himself away from the rest of the team. You can see him, he's just playing on the edge, but he just can't walk that far forward. The Immortal Shield Bow doing a lot of work for Icon, but with Karsa and, of course, with the barrels from 369, it's not quite enough to keep him alive.
Yeah, and JackeyLove building towards the Zhonya's now will help him survive part of this combo, but it does actually allow Light to catch up in terms of like raw damage that they can both output. Not as much pressure onto the Ziggs this game. Ziggs can play relatively front to back. He won't be dove. There is a Syndra, a Lucian, a GP. There's no person to actually get on the Ziggs and make his life hard, meaning that he'll be able to deal damage freely, and all the pressure is going to be on Syndra.
Big moment here for Top Esports. You're still ahead, and you still have all the advantages, but it does feel like LNG are the ones being proactive. They're the ones that are pushing forward, looking for opportunities. Probably the first time in this series we are actually seeing LNG be proactive rather than reactive. We are so used to this team answering to what teams throw at them that this time around, they're the ones that are able to find opportunities, force opportunities out of Top Esports. And if Top Esports don't find themselves back into a little bit of an advantage, they might end up falling a little bit too far behind.
Definitely. That being said, it does look like Icon is going for GA second on Yasuo as opposed to the Infinity Edge, so that will delay the power spike in order to have more survivability. We'll have to see how useful that is throughout the game. We'll be lowering his damage for the immediate upcoming fight by doing this.
And I will say, for Top Esports, you don't really want LNG to be stacking those Cloud Drakes. Yes, Cloud Soul isn't the be-all and end-all, but 2, 3 Cloud Drakes on top of LNG's comp with the reliance on ultimates that you have, getting that extra ability haste, it makes those flights a little bit quicker. You know, you're not thinking that the Hexacle ultimatum is down anymore, the last breath even, alongside the Moonfall combination. These are things that can happen, but Knight doing a great job. This is what we saw from them in game 1 of just spreading LNG out, making sure, hey, you're fully committed to this, we're going to push you onto that, and Knight getting the most out of what he can get right now.
Yeah, and I think that with Yasuo having these items, he doesn't really have the ability to...
Ooh. We're going to see if they go in for it, but there's the scatter wing. Oh, they stop him before he can get the moonfall, and the cannon barrage is good enough to stop everybody else. And we can see now 369 jumping onto Ale. They know they have him isolated. They know they can maybe look for a fight here. There's the flash forward. They get the scatter to the weak. Top Esports find 2, and they've blown this game wide open. They're going for the big purple worm.
Yeah, and they ping onto Baron instantly. So it doesn't even come down to the top situation at all. The good pick in the jungle from Top Esports here, allowing them to get Baron, and they don't even care about Cloudsoul anymore. Who cares about that? Now they have the massive advantage, and with Knight being so far ahead and his ability to split push, like, he can beat anyone in the side lane. Doesn't matter if he's a Lucian into Camille.
Yeah, it really, really doesn't. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb. Does do a lot of damage to 369, but just a little bit too early. You'll see LNG will take the consolation prize of denying that soul, but you gained yourself that priority. You gained yourself that buffer as Top Esports when you said, right, we'll take the first 3 dragons. We don't really care if you deny a soul right now. We have Baron, we have the Ascendancy, and we have enough pressure on the map to make you sweat.
Top Esports pinging onto the tier 2. Wait, they're pinging assistance. They're spam pinging onto the tier 2, but it doesn't look like they want to go for it.
I think they were just maybe thinking that if the next wave went in, but Zhuo is here with Knight. They could kill off Ale. Ale does not have Hextech Ultimatum, does have Flash. They take the better of it. They have a feeling that the rest of the side of LNG has reset, and they do not want to lose their advantage that you just got.
Yeah. So going into this replay, LNG thought they were just picking off Zhuo with the Trundle ulti, but Syndra over the wall gets the stun, and Tarzan ends up just getting shot here. Man, it is actually so well played by the Leona, insta-stunning the Diana, not letting her get off any of her abilities. And when Ale TP's in, this fight is already lost. He just needs to get out of there, but he's not really able to. Walks forward, the flash EQ from JackeyLove, and that's just going to secure Baron for them.
That's a big, big shift in momentum. It went from about a 500 gold lead, it's now a 4,000 gold lead. It is very much Top Esports now, and they have the Gangplank, they have the Lucian. They will melt these towers so quickly, and you can see them already now. They're trying to just pull LNG around. LNG saying, look, we'll go for top lane. We have the Camille. We can make this one work. But that turret in bot side, that tier 2 or tier 3, even the inhibitor, is very, very low. Won't take a lot to really take this one down. That's the base cracked open.
Yeah, Knight is just so far ahead right now. He's up a completed item over Icon. And Icon going for that GA won't be able to output that much damage in these fights. You see Ale split pushing top, trying to get something back. But TES has already got the bottom tier 3, so they are chilling in this game.
Yep, they got the base cracked open. They know that's an avenue they can look towards later in the game. They're going to reset, get themselves back onto the map, and maybe look towards that tier 2. Really push LNG back into their base. We got a little bit of a moment before there's going to be any real fighting coming down. Let's have a quick look at the items. You've got the Proto Belt and, of course, the Zhonya's here for Tarzan. So his engages are going to be very, very good, and they're going to have a lot of distance on that. But I'm looking at the other side. I just don't know who your target is if it's not Knight. But even then, he's got a GA. There's so many different targets that are just so slippery or so hard to kill now for the side of Top E or for the side of LNG.
Yeah, and all these defensive items are really good here, especially to deny the Yasuo Diana combo. So it will be really hard for LNG, and they might have just lost their window.
Might have just lost it a little bit, as we do see Zhuo went in, but was not able to land the Solar Flare. Did lose the exhaust in that as well, so a little bit over-eager as we see Ale going in. Has got the Hextech Ultimatum, but we're going to see him all on his lonesome. Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, and that's going to be enough to take out the Gangplank. There's the last breath down onto the backside. Look at Knight, trying to see if he can take out Icon. He's going to use the culling and try and keep his team alive. The Syndra is only here now. Knight goes over the wall. Icon follows. It's a 1v1. It's going to be Knight going into GA. He's the one who gets taken down. It's a fight on 2 fronts, though. Karsa trying his very best. Knight gets out, surprisingly, and Karsa is popping off on the top side. It's now jungle versus jungle, but it's not a fair fight. As you can see, Tarzan has got himself a friend, and that is going to be enough for TES to keep the push in top side. They trade 3 for 3, but they get the dragon, or sorry, not the dragon, the tower.
LNG actually playing so well here, noticing the one guy that doesn't have a defensive item in GP and going directly for him. Definitely finding the angle here and also getting Knight's GA, so big win for LNG. They really needed that to get back into this game.
Nice influx of gold. They are still 5,000 gold behind, but it keeps them into it. Let's have a look at this replay here, because like you said, it looks like Ale is just going to go, and Knight gets himself away, but 369 is the target.
Yeah, and as soon as they get onto 369, they're able to just blow him up instantly. This wind wall also super annoying for Knight. He has to try to space around it to calling the backline, but while that is happening, the Leona is just getting killed by Icon. But Karsa on the backside of this fight, doing God's work here. Killing IWDominate onto Ale here, he kills Ale as well, and he's just so strong in these types of duels with the Divine Sunderer build. This whole time you have Icon chasing Knight on the backside, gets the GA, but in the end, Knight ends up surviving. A big win for LNG.
And with JackeyLove's final breath, he just sent out the scatter of the week. It was like, to you, Karsa, I give you the torch. You must carry this fight. And it really was the be-all and end-all now. 30 seconds until this dragon spawns. This would be Soul here for the side of Top Esports. They are still very much ahead. You now have Asterix here for 369. So we talked about that defensive item. It is now here. Look, all the way down on LNG. No flash, no flash, no flash, no flash. IWDominate does have one, but he's not exactly a priority. I look on the exact same side of Top Esports. No flash, no flash, no flash. JackeyLove the only one there with that. And again, LNG saying, look, we don't care about Soul. We can push in this mid lane. And now they can turn and burn and try and maybe go for something. There is a TP for Ale, and he's going to try and reset. Good scatter of the week onto IWDominate. Oh, Dom, it's getting tense.
And TES, knowing that after the last fight, they need to play front to back. They need JackeyLove and GP to be playing together so they have the ability to peel for each other. Ale's TPing into the fight. It looks like we're going to have a Soul fight.
Here we go, 369 though, wise to his trick, says, look, I know you're here. Now, Dragon is there. If LNG take this, not the end of the world for Top Esports, as they will still be on 3 dragons. Now, down to 3,000 HP, gets a reset. These bouncing bombs will start to hurt now. This is where the poke really comes in for this Ziggs. Probably why we see such a priority on it. Dragon re-aggro. They know where Ale is. They know exactly where he's coming from. IWDominate taking a lot of damage as they go in. Stolen! Getting them now for LNG as they jump straight back on the backside. It's going to be massive ultimates coming in on top of this fight. But Knight is still alive. Knight is still putting out damage, and Knight will eventually fall. But look at the rest of Top Esports. They're trying their very, very best. It ends up being a 3-for-2 fight as Syndra picks up 2 with 369. He's got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere to be, and he will fall. The only person left is Zhuo and LNG. They might look for something more.
Yeah, they're definitely going to look towards the Baron here. They have the damage with Camille and Yasuo still up. And it was great from Tarzan there, playing the hero. Not only did he deny the soul by stealing the Drake, but he also got the huge engage, hitting 2 or 3 people with the Moonfall, setting up the Yasuo and just getting them that crisp engage they need to be able to fight against Top Esports.
That's going to be the Baron traded back here now. LNG picking up that objective, and the gold lead is going to go back to even Stevens. This game has everything on the line for Top Esports. LNG not letting it go without a fight. They'll get the Baron. They'll be able to get their side wave set up. But let's have a look at this. Ale does get spotted out, so they know exactly where he is, and it's just like Top Esports are trying too hard to focus on him rather than the rest of the team.
Yeah, not only are they focusing on him, they're also focusing on the Dragon. And look at this combo, 3-man from Tarzan into Icon. Just huge engage to start this fight, and if you land that type of combo with this team cup, that's your whole identity. You're going to win the fight afterwards.
And honestly, comboing that with the Mega Inferno Bomb, just pure burst coming out, I will give massive props to JackeyLove. JackeyLove saves that fight. He immediately flashes forward, kills off Ziggs on the backside, and then gets a scatter of the week that kills off IWDominate as well. So, or excuse me, not IWDominate, Tarzan. So, a lot of props to him to keep his team back in this fight, but my God, was it so close to being all over there for Top Esports.
Yeah, and with Icon actually electing to go for that GA second, it delayed his build till pretty late in the game, but here at 30 minutes, he picked up the Infinity Edge. Now this is a spiked, strong Yasuo, so there's no longer going to be the ability for Knight to 1v1 him in the side lane as easily anymore. And this really means that LNG is going to be on the offensive here with this Baron. It's going to be tough for TES to come back into this.
Gold even. 3 dragons for Top Esports, 2 for LNG. They are now pushing in towards this mid lane. There's some good wave clear here, as we can see JackeyLove has to go golden. There's 4 people on top of him. I don't think he can survive this. He cannot. And his ultimate was Sonya's as well, so Tarzan will not fall. Hextech ultimatum. They're going back in onto the backside. They can't take it at the health bars just yet. They're still seeing if they can take out Knight. He's gone into GA. He flashes away. Karsa gets a kill, but I don't think it's enough. I think this is it. I think this is where Top Esports fall. All members members of 2020 Worlds from the LPL will falter, and LNG will continue to rise. They are into the base. They'll take the inhibitor turret. Nobody believed. Nobody said they could do it. It was supposed to be a standard affair for the side of LNG. But now, look at them here, pushing in, taking Nexus turrets, taking away top esports life. And this is going to be LNG taking out the number 4 team from Worlds and taking themselves to a fight against RNG.
Oh, man. People were questioning at first Tarzan's all-pro first team selection, but in this series, man, Tarzan played super, super well, really deserving of that spot. That is a massive win for LNG.
Unbelievable to think this result was possible. Massive shout out to this team because they put it all there. They took on a team that nobody gave them a chance against, and they are the victors. And what does that earn them? A right to fight our MSI 2021 champions, our spring champions, RNG. The fight is not over for them just yet, but they have earned themselves a top 6.
Man, this is actually crazy. No one expected LNG. No one expected them to come back. They started off so hot, 7-0, I believe, in terms of series score, and they kept on dropping series after series, 3 and 6 afterwards. It looked completely doomed for them. And with these 2 wins, man, RNG is going to be scared playing against them.
I mean, who wouldn't be right now? This is why we talked about this playoffs. LNG, despite coming in from the bottom half of this playoffs, are making a run. That is 2 series in the space of literally 2 days. They played on Thursday and they played today, and they are now going up against RNG. For them, this is a dream come true, and it's just the fruits of the labor they put in. It is, of course, sad to see top esports drop. Knight having a career-defining split, and he will not get to show it off on the international stage. Someone's got to win and someone's got to lose, and today LNG refused to lose.
Yeah, you got to give credit where credit is due, man. Tarzan had such a hard journey to get here. People remember last year on Griffin, the post-Worlds Griffin, getting relegated in LCK to now making it to top 6. And potentially, I believe, a Worlds qualifier, regional qualifier slot for LNG.
Guaranteed, yep. Guarantees top 6, guarantees you a regional qualifier. So you, at minimum, even if they bow out 0-3 to RNG, LNG should have enough points to get themselves a second shot, to put themselves into 1 best of 5 for the World Championship. It's a fantastic fairy tale story for Tarzan, and honestly, you mentioned it in the cast earlier that this was an LNG that were faltering. This was an LNG that was falling off of the hype, off of that momentum, but now they seem to have reignited it. They're playing more cohesively. They know how to go for these engages, and straight up, pound for pound, they're looking better mechanically.
Looking better mechanically everywhere, and even when they have deficits, it feels like they're so much more confident getting back into games and playing off their leads. Normally you'd see LNG in regular season have these games where they start losing out early and they just end up going out pretty quietly, but here, even Light being down 50 CS in lane, doing 6k more damage than JackeyLove, like, that's a huge performance given the resources that he have.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does feel like I feel like it's just LNG came together. This was the biggest criticism we had for them in the regular split. It was that, yes, they are individually great players and they have shown us massive ceilings, but they don't play cohesively as a unit. Today they did, and deservedly so. They get themselves a 3-1 victory over top esports. That means that every single seed that was in 2020 Worlds from the LPL will not be there. We will have 4 completely different teams now coming into that. It just shows you how incredibly stacked this league is. It could be your year, it could not be your year. To keep consistently being at the top is so hard in this league.
Yeah, and they have a tall task for them next game, LNG here. RNG, one of the favorites by people to win. So it's crazy that they're going to be underdogs for the 3rd time in a row, but they did it twice. Let's see if they can do it a 3rd time.
Yeah, we're going to see our MVP. I will be totally honest and say I did